So I'm subbed and a follower of Lieutenant Colonel Roy Potter, U.S. Army retired. I mentioned him before about the full spectrum dominance warfare we all find ourselves in today, whether we know it or want to admit it. Full spectrum, people, means exactly that. Any avenue, any and all avenues of attack on we the people is employed. The physical spectrum is rather easy to see in the full spectrum dominance, and it's easy to document. The bioweapon pokey poke and the surrounding fear porn. The physical arrests of mandate violators. The closings of private businesses. Red flag laws, which Donald Trumpstein totally supported. Let me give you a Trumpstein quote here. Quote, take the weapons first, then go to court, unquote. Wonder where I'm going with this, people? Well, stay with me, because I'm just getting started on Wednesday, the 20th of October, 2021. So, back to Lieutenant Colonel Potter. In one of his recent videos, he was talking about a number of his friends, good friends, many of them ex-military, who are so concerned about recent red flag law legislation. Now, I don't know if you, as I just mentioned with the Trump quote, say my neighbor, use me as an example, because I won't mention your names. Say my neighbor, we'll just call him, we'll call him Otis T., calls into the local sheriff's office and says, that neighbor of mine, Dave Corum, is losing it. Well, red flag laws allow these sheriffs, deputies, come out and make a quick assessment, say, yeah, Corum, we better take your guns from you for a while, and then we'll go to court and have a hearing on your mental condition and well-being, and if the judgy-wudgy thinks it's acceptable, they will return your firearms. That, in a nutshell, people, is the red flag laws. So they're worried about the red flag laws. They're worried about the war, and rightfully so, on the First and Second Amendments, and the actual en masse gun confiscation that did take place in American history in New Orleans during the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Yep, police matched up with National Guard units going door to door, street to street in the nicer suburbs, seizing weapons, disarming law-abiding middle-class Americans. Not the Ninth Ward dwellers, people. Nope, upper-class neighborhoods. You might remember the beat-up and bruised old lady being wrestled to the ground by some fat slob cop. National Guard people standing around watching it in her own kitchen. Remember that one? She put up a greater fight for her Second Amendment rights than anyone else featured in all the videos from that time on the mainstream media coverage. So, sadly, the vast majority surrendered their weapons, but not a shot fired, and zero resistance. I mean, it's pathetic. A few humbly asked, how do I get my guns back when this is over? I mean, cowardice, people. Mind-controlled, poor-ass slaves. They were disarmed, did not live in flooded areas, and were totally exposed to violent and vicious attacks from the hordes of Ninth Ward flooded areas, quote-unquote residents, moving outward from the flooded areas to the higher ground held by the disarmed. Sure like to know how you hold your ground when you're disarmed, but I don't know. They thought they were doing it. So, back to Colonel Potter. So in his video, he was amazed that his good friends, as a solution to future gun confiscations, are burying and hiding their firearms. Now, why Colonel Potter's video struck a nerve with me is that I've had similar conversation with locals, and many of them displayed the same strategy. Bury and hide their firearms. Yes, they adamantly see, they ain't taking my guns, which I applaud. Great, stand your ground. But bury and hide? Loaded or not, a firearm you can't get to in an emergency is absolutely worthless. In stressed emergency, shit happens fast. Events blur. In short, time is of the essence, people, and you won't have time to locate and dig up your goddamn service weapons. And yes, I said service weapon of your choosing, one you are comfortable with, loaded and always accessible to you when needed. I mean, come on, I always thought that was common sense, right? Isn't it better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it? So anyhow, in a quick review here, if you can't get to it when you need it, then you, yes you, have effectively disarmed yourself with no help whatsoever from the government. And I have to ask, why? Why bitch about red flag and gun confiscation when you, yes, you disarmed yourself? Somebody's got to explain this strategy to me, because I don't get it. And let me throw this truth bomb into the discussion for shits and giggles. What makes you think they really want your guns instead of your ass? They won't be putting your guns on the bus, people. It's going to be you and yours. They're going on the bus. Your butts. So, what drives the thought process of some people who see the problem but then bury or hide what may soon someday be their only lifeline? Damn, I just don't get it. Communism, which is clearly Judaism, was once defined as the battle for the minds of men. Remember Colonel Potter saying full spectrum dominance? Think there is an organized effort to not necessarily control what you think, but how you think? People who think they will stand their ground, draw a line in the sand, and die with their boots on, have a cognitive problem when their weapons are hidden or buried. Now, Ice Age Farmer, I've used his material before, just put out a 12-minute video that is going to be one of several parts on the subject of cognitive warfare. Yes, they are waging a war on our brain, people. Full spectrum dominance. Don't lose that term. Contrary to what polar bear Al Gore claims, the military, yep, DARPA, D-A-R-P-A, I think it's Defense Advanced Research Project Administration, created the internet, not Al Gore. Facebook, you guys still on Facebook? Was created by CIA. Search Operation Mockingbird dating back to the 1960s. And you'll never wonder again why the mainstream media is so fucked up. I'll leave a link to Ice Age Farmer's first part, 12-minute video, for those interested. Watch it or don't. And I'll keep you posted in upcoming videos about cognitive warfare. Just one part of the spectrum of full spectrum dominance. They, the masters of the plantation people, have been at this a long time, and they're good at what they do. So let me toss this thought out there. Just a simple question. Do you think your beloved can't live without it? Man, it makes life easier. Smartphone is part of this war on our brains. I do. Alright, people. Stuff to do. My last week at the Charlie Foxtrot. Spell that with capital C, capital F. I'm done.